globalists and the World Economic Forum have worked so hard to bring about a collapse, I think it's pretty important that we work pretty hard to prepare for a collapse. The Americans have been so caught up in the left and the right and who's what, and to me it's pretty important that we zoom back and we see that there's a globalist agenda at play. Joe Biden himself is a globalist. Joe Biden doesn't hide the fact that he's part of the World Economic Forum, and in so doing, in fact, there's videos where they're Klaus Schwab saying that Joe Biden is one of the best members that they have, the hardest working, before he was the president. So he has a globalist mindset. He has a globalist agenda to bring about central bank digital currency into the US, to bring about a collapse of the US economy. And I think Joe is not very coherent, right? We all agree he's not too coherent in his mind. So I think he's being ruled from behind the scenes. And as he's being ruled from behind the scenes, you have to ask the question, who's ruling him? Who's actually in charge of the USA? And there's a massive indication that it's the globalists that are coming in from really the World Economic Forum. And so to me, I'm dual citizen, but it's very important, and to me, the US, because I think it's a major player in this globalist agenda. If they can break the US, they will break the world. If the US caves in and gives in to their agenda, then I think we're all in a lot of trouble. So I'm international right now. I'm in Australia, and we a lot of people get attitude towards the Americans from around the world. Oh, the Americans, they're this, they're that. But I think we should keep focused on the fact that whether you like them or you don't, the Americans always have a very strong sense of nationalism, and that's being eroded. In the last 2 years, they've had 5 million illegal immigrants come over the border. They've had massive over 31 trillion in debt and counting. And I think it's been planned all the way along this, that they don't plan to bring back the currency. They don't plan to bring back the US currency. They are planning to crash it. They are trying to crash it. And in essence, they're stealing from all of us. So they're printing and they're buying as much as they can buy. They're doing it here in Australia. They're doing it all over the world. And the sole intent and purpose is, let's get rid of currency and bring in the central bank digital currencies globally. Now, I just shared a video this morning from China where they have facial recognition to get your toilet paper in a public toilet. So if your face isn't right, you're in trouble, right? But it's that CBDCs are something that are evil. The concept can sound so attractive and people can think, oh, it's not a bad thing. It's terrible. It's an abomination. They will control every part of your life. They will merge with the CBDC social credit scores like they've done in China, so that if you're not, or your neighbor says you didn't put the right thing in your recycling bin, for instance, and they have neighbors that when they report on you, you get a bonus in your social credit score. So in apartment blocks, they have somebody on each floor who is there to monitor everybody else. And if you do wrong, you get reported, you lose credit, they gain credit. And then in doing that, your credit score then allows you to travel. It allows you, and this is in China, they do this currently. It allows you to put your children in different schools. So if you don't have a good enough social credit score, your child will never be allowed to go to the school that you want to get them into. So it's a system that they're going to merge with the CBDC. I do, again, think that the US is a massive hope in that. The Americans are waking up, and when they wake up to the fact that they're being controlled from behind the scenes, I think we're going to see some pushback. The media over there, it's starting to mention globalism. I just put up a speech from Trump, I think, yesterday. And the reason I liked it is because Trump is talking about globalists, and we are going to stop these globalists. And to me, the globalism, and especially I'm going to talk about the US here, globalism is treason. It's treasonous to your own country, because you're saying the rights of America, who and what America are now, we don't want it. We're going for a global agenda. And that's true of all of our countries. Australia, it's a treasonous agenda by our authorities. Now, they can explain it away and say, oh, it's a good thing, we're in a global world now. No, that doesn't give you the right to take away our sovereignty. It doesn't give you the right to give away our sovereignty. Joe Biden is about to give away the sovereignty of the US to the World Health Organization. Apparently somewhere here in the next 4 days, he'll be signing that. So the US won't have the say over their own health issues. It goes to the World Health Organization. Now, I think probably most Americans would not even understand the ramifications of that. But what is happening here is they're giving your sovereignty away, all of our sovereignty. But again, I'm talking of the US today. As they give away the US sovereignty to these globalists, little bit by little bit by little bit, by the time you wake up to it, you're in such a place it's pretty hard to reverse it. Now, I want to get back onto Trump. I'm not in love with Trump. I don't see him as the Messiah. But I think that the one thing that stands out to me about Trump, firstly, he's a man of conviction. And secondly, he's a nationalist. And if anybody argues with that, that's silly. And I get messages where people are saying, oh, he's WEF. No, he's not. I really don't believe that. Trump is for Trump. He doesn't need WEF. Why? Why would he want to be part of it? He is for America. He wants to do things for America. Hey, Red, I saw your message there. Robert, it is good versus evil. It is good versus evil. And I think Trump has got enough audacity, strength, where he's going to stick it to the globalists. And for me, I think he's probably going to get my vote. I mean, I'm a US citizen because he's going to stick it to the WEF. I don't believe he's going to give all of the US away. It's just how much damage happens before we get there. I mean, like I said in the video yesterday, so many people are carry on about Trump, but I was here in Australia for some of that when Trump was in his heyday, and the lies and the junk they were saying on the mainstream media. And I'd just come from America. I'm dual citizen. I'm Australian American citizen. So I just come from the US, and I knew what the media was saying here was outright propaganda. But you meet people in the shopping centres here in Australia, and you start talking about Trump, and they're like, oh yeah, Trump, he's a... And they just parrot what the mainstream media's told them. We have been programmed by the mainstream media. But get rid of all the froth and bubble and get down to the core of this. The globalists are taking over. They are taking over Australia. They are taking over the US. Trump is not a globalist. He is a nationalist. He stands for America, whether you like it or not, and we need a lot more of that. So I'm looking here. Trump, yes, Red. He always does stand for his country. I tell you what, I wish we had a Trump in Australia. Someone with a bit of grunt, a little bit of balls that's going to stand up for what their country, and believe in their country, but they're just selling us out. Just giving away our sovereignty. Like I've said, the World Health Organization, they're about to take the sovereignty of many nations away so that we can't even make a call in our own health issues. And you're right, the elites don't like him because he won't be swayed. He's not owned by anybody. Trump's all about Trump and all about America. And if you don't think that, then you haven't spent any time in America. Everything that comes out of his mouth, America, America, America first, America first. Now I get it. Everybody else in the world hates the fact, they're damn Yanks, they're always talking about themselves. No, if you're going to be elected to be the president of a country, you need to be about that country. And that's what he is. So I do believe he's going to get back in. I don't know if he's owned by Russia. I mean, there's so much dramas. I mean, it's like little children with everything that's going on. But we need to cut through all the drama. We need to cut through all of the accusations and the you said, he said, she said. There's not going to be one leader who's perfect. We're never going to find one. There's not going to be one man that's not going to think different to you. We've all got our opinions. But we have to get down in freedom. We have to unite around the rally of rally around freedom and say what pulls us together, not what divides us, what pulls us together, and freedom is what pulls us together. And as we come together and we say, okay, how do we get freedom? Who's trying to take our freedom? You got to know your enemy if you're going to fight them, right? The globalists, World Economic Forum, they are all about destroying everything that's been our way of life. Trump is not like that. Trump is about, he's about nationalism. He is about standing for America, making America count. He's even said it, America first. And I watched him at the World Economic Forum give a speech where he said every leader should be about the country they're elected to. And he is 100% right. So people were like, well, we saw him at the World Economic Forum. Yeah, but did you actually pay attention? Did you hear what that man was saying? He poked him in the eye. He did not go along with a globalist agenda. So I'm not really here to pump Trump, but I'm just here to say, can we all calm down on the Trump thing and start using our brain? Because they're controlling us with the drama. They're coming in with all this trash and getting people arguing that in America, when I left for America in, September 99, right when Al Gore and Bush were going through their election. And when I sat and listened to the politics there, I was like blown away. I'm like, these people, the press, the mainstream media are throwing this election. It's the left versus the right. And they're trying to get everybody fighting in the US, left, right, left, right. No, the left is this, the right's that. And so the more that calms down, they get the left to throw in a grenade of some sort of offence, right? Now everybody's like, the left, and then the right's out with their banners. Oh no, we don't want this. And what's happening in the meantime? The globalists are sitting down behind going, you beaut, this is great. We own these people. And they are giving away the sovereignty of the US. Like I've just said, in 4 days' time, Biden plans to give the sovereignty of the US to the World Health Organization, a globalist organization, to take over the health of the world. So when they say there's a pandemic, when they say that you need to be vaccinated or you need something, your country will have no say in that. They have to obey the treaty that they've signed. And the USA is about to sign that treaty. It is happening right in front of our eyes. But while everybody's looking at balloons and train derailments, and they're terrible, train derailments, that's absolutely atrocious. What about all the food plants they've burned in the USA? I mean, the largest, I think it was the largest chicken farm, egg producing farm, 20 million eggs. I don't know if that's a week, a day, a year, whatever it was, 20 million eggs burned. How does a chicken farm catch fire? Over 100 food plants have been burned in the USA. Who's investigated that? Some local sheriffs, but nobody's come together and said, hey, there's a conspiracy here. They're trying to destroy our food. Because in the US or anywhere in the world, when they destroy your food, they've destroyed your currency, they own you. And people say, I'll never take the central bank digital currency. I'll never eat bugs. I'll never do what they say because the WEF is saying we're going to eat bugs. Hungry people do desperate things. Hungry people do desperate things. I know, Amelia, I think we're set on a path of destruction, but I think that we are the answer. You know, I base my life around biblical principles. And one of the things in the Bible which I like is every time society went crazy, God was never in them. He was telling them, hey, you need to see what you're doing. But there was always what we call a remnant. There was always a group of people that were a voice that was saying, hey, this is not right. And God was always in the remnant. He always took care of the remnant. And the remnant ended up becoming the mainstream. We're the remnant. When you look at freedom, you're a remnant. You're somebody that sees freedom. And how many people around you are clueless to this? They don't even think, gee, freedom, or I've had them say it to me, freedom from what? We're doing all right. I go to my job every day. I pay my bills. I drive my car. What do you mean, freedom? No. They're like a deer in the headlights, so mesmerized. But that remnant is the ones like you and I that can see something's up, something's wrong. You go to the supermarket if you think there's nothing wrong and see how far your money goes. Inflation is going up and up and up. Here in Australia, they put digital IDs into businesses, and they've said if you don't sign up in a digital ID for your business, you get a $15,000 a month fine for every non-compliant month. So of course people, it's no big deal, it's just, we already have it anyway, so they sign on. And you know what's next? They're going to come along and say every one of your employees has to have a digital ID or they're not allowed to be employed. And they coerce it the same as they did with the vaccine. This is not about freedom. Not understanding this is part of why we're in this mess. Yeah. Grocery shopping is ridiculous, PH. Oh, where are you from? I mean, if you're saying some of that stuff, let me know where you're from in the world and what's going on in your part of the world. Because it's like I've made, look at my videos, I don't hide it. I am dual citizen, but I'm focused on America because I think that that's the key. They are focused on America. We are seeing so much attack in the US right now. Australia, they've passed all the laws here. All they're waiting for is to just enforce them. I didn't put the video up because they'll stop it, but I just saw one yesterday where they're training our army here in the US, in Townsville. I lived in Townsville for a time. They are training the army up there on riots, how to deal with the population when it riots. Why are we training the army on that? They're bringing in 2,500, the video I've shared it from Real Rukshan, 2,500 police officers are being brought in from overseas to police Australia. Why? Why do we need our army trained in riots and 2,500 foreign police officers to come to Australia? Australia is already cooked. We are waiting for the US because the US is armed to the teeth. You've all got guns. You've got them under your beds, under your pillows, I mean, in your icebox. I mean, you guys have got guns. And they're scared of it. So while they can keep the left fighting the right in the US, they're winning. You've got to zoom back. Americans, if you're listening, you've got to zoom back. You've got to get people to start to see this is globalism. You have globalists running your country. Joe Biden is not running your country. That guy can't run himself to the bathroom. He's not running your country. He's being somebody behind the scenes as a puppet master, pulling his strings. He was purposely put in there as cannon fodder because when this whole thing goes bad, they're just going to blame Biden and move on. They needed somebody that they could just, a patsy, someone they could throw it all on and say, yeah, this is the idiot. It's all Biden's fault. Move on. Oh, he's dead now. Move on. Been planning a long time. We're getting 15-minute cities pushed on us in the UK. I've been sharing a lot of videos on that, and that is deeply concerning. They're doing it here in Australia. Newcastle in Australia, which is near Sydney. Sydney's not our capital city, for those that are unsure. Sydney's above, Newcastle's above Sydney. But it's they're bringing in a 15-minute city there, a completely monitored city. Cisco is putting in cameras and things to be able to monitor everybody and everything. And again, we're the remnant. If the US stands strong, I do believe it. I think the US currency will collapse, but I think the Americans are going to rise up. Yes, there will be chaos, but they are not going to just march in and take over the USA. The US is going to stand up. I think we are going to see someone like Trump, that people will be begging him to come back because he's got strength. And whether you like his policies or not, at least you're going to have an economy with him. And he's going to rise up, and I think we'll have probably, my guess, right, 3 years of unrest, 3 years of chaos and things as they are bringing about a change. And after that, ultimately, we will end up with a central bank digital currency, probably globally. All countries' enemies, Stephen, you're right, they are the globalists. But we have to identify that because they own the media. So they're so good at getting us fighting each other for stupid stuff. What can you do to prepare yourself? I got a bunch of videos on that, Christian. There's a bunch of videos. Have a look on there. TikTok. I've also got it on the Facebook on 2 Free Sky. Is the New World Order real or a conspiracy? You tell me. You tell me. I mean, I run these global groups. I have the Global Freedom Movement. They on Facebook, we were getting 3,000 a day. They shut it down overnight to like 30 a day, and now I think it's been 6 months and they haven't allowed it to grow at all. So I started the then Global Freedom Movement page. They've shut that down from people joining. It's still there, but you can't join it. Well, you can join it, but they're taking people off as quick as they join it. I started 2 Free Scott on Facebook. Got up to, I think, 33,000 followers on that. They've done the same thing there, shadow banning. So the original group was 42,000, they shadow ban it. The next group page was 16,000, they shadow ban it. 33,000, they shadow ban it. Now I'm on TikTok as well, and I think we're up over 60,000 on here. But total, this is going out to 150,000 people, but you can't have them all in one group. So I've got multiple groups. You build a group, they limit it, but you still get access to the people that are in it. But running a global group, you can see the changes. So a chicken farm, I'm going to go to that. Chicken farm in the US was burned. 20 million eggs produced, whatever it was. It sounded like, I mean, I thought it was a day. That's a lot of chickens, but maybe it was a day. What have they done? New Zealand just had a chicken farm. 75,000 chickens caught fire and burned. How do chicken farms all over the world catch fire? Oh, it's a bit funny that Bill Gates owns massive amounts of farmland. Oh, Bill Gates owns the patents for artificial eggs. Oh, hello. It's an agenda that they are working methodically to. They have planned it. Yes, they are fully intending to take over. Yes, I do believe America is the one who's going to slow all this up when the people start waking up. Sorry, there's so many comments coming in. I'm not really keeping up with them too good, but go back and read the UN Charter documents from the late 90s to bring all countries in line. Yes, Stephen, I'm sure that's there. I have no doubt at all that that's there. It is an organised attack, but they're keeping us in chaos while they are an organised group taking over our countries. What do? I think we start to firstly identify it. If you don't see your enemy, what can you do? It's treason. These people are committing treason. And nobody wants to say that, but it's treason. They are selling out their own countries. These social media giants, the mainstream media that are pumping globalist propaganda coming out of the World Economic Forum. It's treasonous, and they need to be held to account for that. I believe. Hopefully, they will be. Sorry, I'm reading here. I'm in the USA. I'm fully awake. How do we get these people to hear? With guns to wake up. I don't think we want violence. It's not at that point. It's I think it's just a case of waking people up. Share the videos. Let people know. And try not to be too extreme in that. Because bear in mind, when somebody's been living in dark and you come and you shine a flashlight or a torch in their face, they're like, whoa, their first reaction is, whoa, get away from here. But if I come walking in with a candle in pitch dark, people will always be drawn to that light. And so now if there's a room full of 10 people will come and stand around that candle. Nobody wants to stand in the darkness. And I think he who witnesses is wise. So if you're going to talk to people about freedom, if you're going to talk to people about the globalists and what they're doing, don't come with a floodlight and just wham in their face. Let it be a little bit. And as you just make something, and I like to say religion tries to jam things into people, which is self-righteous, and none of us like that. But a relationship with the Holy Spirit, with God, it's where he brings out what's already in us. Because he's at work in every one of us in different ways. Your friends have seen something. Your friends have seen something's up. Don't try and shove on them what you think they ought to see. Have a listen long enough to see what they already see. Have a listen to them long enough to see what their concerns are. And when you hear their concerns, you can then merge that and say, hey, you do understand where that comes from, right? Now you've got somebody who's actually your friend in that. They're not somebody going, oh, this guy's like a conspiracy tin hat nut. And then they'll listen to nothing that you have to say. But I tell you, once the light comes on, it comes on, then they'll be coming to you and saying, what about this? I've seen, who's this Klaus Schwab guy? What's going on with, Why have they burned over 100 food-producing plants in the US? Why have they burnt food-producing plants in New Zealand? Why do they have a bug farm in Canada that produces crickets? They're going to see these things and they're going to start asking you questions. Now, but if you start sending them all your emails and all your links to these people that are talking some of this stuff, you're just going to push them away. And that's what the globalists want, divide and conquer. If they can divide us, they are conquering us. But as we're waking up and we're saying, no, there's more to this story. We've got some globalist people running our countries that need to be held accountable for what they're doing. Too much popularity in speaking the truth, they'll shut up one way or another. Yeah. Well, like I just said, you have to be a little careful. Best thing you can do is what I've done. I've got 4 different groups. People look and say, oh, he's only got 16,000. We can manage that. Yeah, but there's another group with 33,000, another group with 42,000, another group with 61,000. And you put all those together, there's 150,000. Now, people don't need to know they all merge together, yet here I am broadcasting it, but they don't need to know it all comes together. But you get programs like Restream where you can stream it to 4 different platforms or 5 different unlimited platforms all at once. So, I personally think every time they come against us with something, instead of getting offended about it, wow, how dare they? I'm offended. I get ticked off. But then I allow that energy to drive me to say, okay, there's a better way of doing this. I don't see problems. I see solutions. So the first time they shadow banned the global freedom movement and 42,000 and boom, overnight shut down. I didn't get all offended. I mean, it's still there, but nobody can join and they don't let the posts get out. I'm like, well, okay, I can be offended here, sit and suck my thumb and get upset about it, or let it drive me into finding a better way. So I opened another group. And when did that happen? Like I said, it went to 16,000 and they limited that. So I was like, okay, well, I've learned here. I get a little bit of time to build before they shut me down. So I started 2 Free Scott and got to 33,000 before they limited that one. And then, so now that's sufficient. I share to those. TikTok is doing really good. I think over 60,000. And so far TikTok is, you'll be really careful what I share on here, but so far I don't think they've shadow banned me. So be smart about it is what I'm saying. Don't when they come against you, don't give them the standard response of like offense. Stop and go, okay, I'm offended. I don't like what you've done. This is going to motivate me to find a different way. This is going to motivate me to be creative. This is going to motivate me. This is not going to take away and stop me. And I love the motivation. When they come against me with stuff like that, I thrive on it. I'm like, okay, so now I've got this blockage. How can I get around this? What can I do to do this? Lives. I mean, they stop on Facebook. I've noticed they'll censor a lot of the stuff, but on stories, when you share a story, it doesn't pick up on the censors. Well, it hasn't so far for me. So I might stick a story up. It's there for a day or two maybe, and then it's gone. But it bypasses those things. So there's ways, and we just have to find those ways, be creative. When we find those ways, share them, come together. Yeah, they'll fight it, they'll stop it, but they can't stop all of us. They can't stop all of us. Yeah, sorry, I get all carried away here. Let me see if I get my, there we go, I got my comments bigger, so I'm good now. There are millions in America that feel the time for talk is over. It doesn't mean violence though, right? Don't get violent. Just find ways to be proactive in taking things back. Thoughts on 15-minute cities, I sort of mentioned that earlier. They're terrible. It's just a complete way to control people. Because the next step is in the US, oh, you live in Washington, D.C., I lived there for a time. Well, you can't drive to Boston. I lived in Boston. You have to have the social credits is what they'll bring in. You'll have to pay money. Your car has to be the latest model that won't give out excessive emissions. Yeah, 15-minute cities are horrible things. What role in Russia with this New World Order? Well, they've got BRICS, right? They've started a new currency, New World Order. You're showing you only regurgitate what you see on social media. I can only be in one place. So it's not like I can be everywhere. So Sometimes it does. We would have to be freed without violence. Yeah. Without violence is the way. And we can do it. It's like lying. I told my kids, look, only dumb people lie. You don't have to lie. Just be smart about what you say. And, you know, we all make mistakes, but, yeah. History teaches peaceful means only worked once in history. That's India's, but not Gandhi. Yeah, well, I'm not going to be the one to encourage violence. Currently, Jason, I'm in Australia. I'm in Brisbane, Australia. I've just come from Canberra, Australia. As I've said, I'm a dual US citizen. I will be back in the US at some point. Why so afraid to engage in a convo? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm on here, right? But whatever. Knock yourself out. If you want to talk, send a message. Yeah, so the comments move pretty quickly sometimes, so it can be hard to keep up with them. At the moment, they've slowed down. But you saw the video with Roz. Yeah, she's a lovely lady. She's put in the hard yards, and Roz is someone who is walking in the freedom of the spirit. That's the purpose of the Second Amendment, when the government becomes tyrannical. Yeah. But you know that people have got to do something with the Second Amendment. I'm not sure. You're saying you sent a request to talk to me on the video. I don't mind doing that. I just haven't figured out how to hang it up. Last time I got somebody on here, I quite enjoyed talking with them, but I couldn't hang it up. So I had to hang the whole call up. So I'm a little bit of a Luddite still with some of that stuff. You worked with Roz. Yeah, great, Jason. That's awesome. Yeah, she's a lady with a big smile. So Jason's talking about a lady I did a video with where she's just talking about freedom on the blonde lady. You can go back and see that. So, but hey, I'm not sure if anyone else has got something they did want to ask. If you wanted to have that conversation now, you can come on, because I'm probably going to wind it up soon. So Prothemius. So Prothemius, if you're going to be respectful, I'm quite happy to have a chat with you. I don't know how to add you in, but you're welcome to come on, or anybody else that wants to come on. If I can't figure out how to hang you up, I'll just hang up the whole call. That's yeah, the digital system. It is. It's forcing us into their control, and it's a slow death, Hanny. You know, they're bringing it in slowly, and I believe they'll use inflation to actually kick it up a level, because the currency is so inflated. They'll bring in a central bank, a CBDC, that's more stable. They'll sell it like, oh, it's grounded globally, and all the advantages of it, and there are advantages of it, but they're not certainly going to tell any of us what they really intend to do with it. And so, like I've said, I think with the central bank digital currency, as an example, a loaf of bread might cost $1, but if you want to go and use your greenback, it's going to cost you $10, $20. You know. Then we've tried through court, and they deny. Well, the court's a part of it. I mean, the whole system it's rife all through the system. I don't know who's pulling the strings in each country locally, but I know where it's coming from ultimately. Yeah, the police, man, they're just bringing in 2,000. I just shared an article on it. 2,500 police officers from overseas are being brought into Australia to police. The Australians don't want to police what they're trying to have us police on our citizens. When are all these things supposed to happen? They're already happening. They're just playing out in different parts of the world at different pace. Like I said, running a global group, you get to see it globally. So New Zealand will have something, Canada, US, Australia, even Europe. They bring things in pretty quickly. Been hearing it for years and nothing happens. Well, actually, a lot is happening. A massive amount is happening. In fact, the World Health Organization is signing over the US rights. Well, Biden is signing them over in 4 days, I believe. So how can we do anything peacefully? It sounds like they've taken that option away. They haven't taken that option away. I mean, we're doing something peaceful now, aren't we? I think at this point, it's making people aware of what's going on. They are aiming for 2030, but I did hear somewhere that they've moved that agenda forward. So it's I think they're realising that people are waking up. Here's hey, whatever, Hanny, if you've got the answer, you're welcome to share it with me. I think we're all part of that answer, and I think we're all doing things. But yeah, I'm looking forward to your answer, Prothemius, on or Hanny. I'm not, whoever you are. I'm looking forward to your answer. Yeah, let us know. Yeah, what's your answer? It's because I'm certainly not presenting myself as an answer, but I am presenting the fact that we need to have some discussions on some of this stuff. You know what? The amount of disrespect that you're showing here, I don't really think why I should accept your request, to be honest. So, no. You cooked your goose. You call me a few names now, I actually don't care. So, yeah, I think I'm pretty much done. I'm actually going out for my walk today. I'm heading into the Brisbane city. I might do a little video in there.